bring in, of course, film study professor, my good friend Joe Fortunato. He joins us Fridays at this time here on WAKR with his unique take, a look at films. And this one, to me, is just a real enjoyable film that has some drama, certainly has a lot of humor to go with it. And I'll let Joe take it from there. Good morning, Mr. Fortunato. How are you?
Good morning, Greg. Good morning, everybody. And yeah, I think we have a good one today. Something I would definitely consider to be a modern classic, although I'm always filled with irony when I say modern with something that's celebrating its 35th anniversary this week. But in my world of classic film, it's sort of modern. That is Pretty Woman, which was released in 1990. This week in 1990, so again, celebrating its 35th anniversary. Directed by the great Gary Marshall. Of course, it stars Richard Gere and Julia Roberts in her sort of breakout role, as well as Ralph Bellamy and Jason Alexander, which a lot of people sometimes forget. It had one Oscar nomination, just one, but it was for Best Actress for Julia Roberts, and I think sometimes people forget that, so she got an Oscar nomination for that role. Now, Richard Gere and Julia Roberts kind of had pretty obvious chemistry in the film and in their first meeting. However, Gere didn't want to take the part, and he was on the phone ready to turn it down when Julia Roberts slid him a Post-it note with the words, "Please say yes," written on it, and he accepted the role right then, and it was kismet, as they say. We'll talk a little bit more about some more casting things in just a moment, but a couple of fun facts about the film, little Easter eggs, if you will. The opera, fans will know, Richard Gere takes Julia Roberts to an opera, and that opera is La Traviata, which opera fans might know is also about a prostitute who falls in love with a wealthy man. Now, some of the production stories, Disney told Gary Marshall that there was no money available in the budget for Hector Elizondo, who has a great role, a supporting role in the film. Yeah. So Gary paid his salary out of his own pocket.
Wow.
Now, eventually, Disney relented and repaid Gary the money. But I always enjoy when directors put their money where their mouth is, as it were. Speaking of the chemistry or the romance between Richard Gere and Julia Roberts, they are 18 years old, or 18 years apart in real life, I should say. They were 40 and 22 at the time of the filming. Some more sort of Easter eggs to look for. You'll remember the gorgeous necklace that Vivian wears to the opera. That really cost $250,000, wow. And wasn't costume jewelry. While filming, a security man from the jewelry store, equipped with a gun, was constantly standing behind the director on set so that no one got any sticky fingers with that jewelry.
Wow!
I talked about Ralph Bellamy. This was his final film before he passed away in 1991 at the age of 87. And a great career he had. I talked about Disney not wanting to pay for Hector Elizondo. Well, they didn't want Julia Roberts for the role of Vivian. Oh. They wanted Meg Ryan instead. And in fact, Disney executives sort of wanted the combination of Sean Connery and Meg Ryan in the lead role. Again, talking about casting here, There's a lot for this one. So I'll kind of try and keep it brief. But just some of the people that either read for the role of Edward, which went to Richard Gere, or were considered for it. Christopher Reeve auditioned. Al Pacino turned it down, saying he just wasn't the right actor for it. John Travolta auditioned for the role. Burt Reynolds was offered the role but declined. Albert Brooks and Sylvester Stallone turned down the role. Dennis Quaid was considered. Again, this list just goes on and on. Harrison Ford, Danny Glover, wow. all were considered. Robin Williams was even considered. So just kind of a who's who of big male stars at the time. Now, going over to the side of Julia Roberts' character, Drew Barrymore and Winona Ryder both auditioned for that role, but were turned down because Gary Marshall thought that they were both too young for the part. Diane Lane was very close to playing Vivian, but had to pull out at the final moment because of scheduling conflicts. Other people that were considered or auditioned, Uma Thurman, Jodie Foster, just coming off of her first Oscar for The Accused, Sandra Bullock, Michelle Pfeiffer. And then for even the supporting role of Kit, which eventually went to Laura San Giacomo, sort of the it girl of the moment, Demi Moore was turned down for that role. Valerie Bertinelli were also considered. So tons of casting stuff there.
Joe Fortunato with us, film school, film study professor. You know, you went through all those names, but This movie to me is so good. I can't see anyone else in those two roles. I'm sure everybody would have done well, but I thought Julia Roberts was just terrific, and gosh, he was so good too.
I agree with you. I mean, I think we sort of have that either thought or conversation every time we talk about casting because it's always so hard to imagine someone else in iconic roles or the chemistry or whatever. But and sometimes these lists of names are just pipe dreams, and maybe were considered. Some are pretty real. They almost got the part for one reason or another. So, but I think it's a fun speculation game. Just a couple of other little tidbits here before we run out of time. The famous iconic poster, I think a lot of people know this, but that was a body double. A model named Shelley Michelle was the body for the poster. And of course, Julia Roberts' head was superimposed on it. But also kind of fun that people sort of forget because they're focused on the body double. Richard Gere's hair is brown in the poster, but of course graying in the movie. So many of the famous scenes were filmed on Rodeo Drive when she goes on her shopping spree, and those had to be done on a Sunday because the city of Beverly Hills has very strict filming rules on that particular street, which I've been on that street, and I can see why. It's a sort of a very closed little area there. And the movie title, of course, is named after the Roy Orbison song, "Oh Pretty Woman," that was also used as its theme song. But originally, Touchstone and Disney wanted the Van Halen version, but that they declined because of copyright. They couldn't get the copyright on the Van Halen version of Pretty Woman, so we had Roy Orbison's classic version instead.
If you haven't seen the movie in a while, go back and check it out. I know Joe has peaked he does this about every Friday. He brings these movies up that I love, that I haven't seen in a while, and I go back and watch them on the weekend because they're so good, and there's been so many movies through the years, and Joe piques the interest. You go back and watch them and realize really how good they were. Pretty Woman, Julia Roberts, of course, the big star in the movie, and great job, Joe. Before I let you go, why don't you hit some, I knew you had a very successful outing as you went out in the city of Green a couple of weeks ago. What else you got going over at your website?
Yeah, I want to thank everybody who came out to our Fortunato Film School of Raiders of the Lost Ark last week in the city of Green. Hopefully we'll be doing another one here in a few months. And then a few people came out to the Cleveland Fan Expo this Saturday when I had my Jaws panel. Nothing on the immediate horizon in terms of live events, but I always have, of course, our segments and some of the podcasts and media appearances that I do on my website, joefortunato.net. So just, always be checking joefortunato.net for the latest happenings in my world.
All right. Sounds good, Joe. As always, appreciate your time with us on Fridays, my friend, and we'll reconnect again next week.
I look forward to it.
All right. There you go. He's the best. Joe Fortunato, film study professor, joins us for film school each and every Friday.